What's up everyone, I'm Frovlax and today I'm trying to Nuzlocke Pokémon X with only Ghost types. The rules for this challenge are the usual: play the game in set mode, no items in battle besides Eld items, no overleveling. If a Pokémon faints, it needs to be boxed, and obviously I can only use Ghost-type Pokémon. If you want, check the description for more detailed rules. Spooky season is almost ending, and what better way to celebrate Halloween than doing a challenge with a fan favorite type. This is gonna be a special one for me because I didn't have a 3DS back in the day, so I've skipped both Gen 6 and 7, and I'm excited to play Pokémon X, especially because it's the game that introduced Mega Evolutions, the best gimmick ever made. But enough talking, let's just start this challenge. Usually, we don't find a Ghost type early in the game, so I called Nintendo and asked them to fix the starters for me. And they gave me Phantom, instead of Fennekin, because they pretty much have the same base stats, and this way our rival would have Greninja, the hardest one for us to face. Just look at this dude, he is so adorable, just like any starter. He is gonna be our Groot with the neutral, bashful nature. Our first battle is against Shauna and Chespin. We go for Confuse Ray, and between Astonish and him hitting himself, we easily get our first victory. And we go straight to the Santalun City gym where we face the leader Viola and her bug types. She starts with Surskit, that goes for Water Sport, and we hit the Confuse Ray. And while he hits himself, we spam Growth, and since we take very little damage from Bubble, we keep buffing until we are maxed out, and we finish him with a Tackle. She sends out Vivillon next, that goes for Ardern, and we do decent damage with Tackle, but on the next turn, he uses Infestation. This means we'll be taking damage every turn. But we still do a lot of damage, and even with her using a potion, it didn't matter, because with a couple more tackles, we were able to take out Vivillon, defeating Viola and getting the first badge of the run. We go to Lumiose City next, where we battle Professor Sycamore and the beloved Kanto starters. The first is obviously Bulbasaur, but we use the same strategy. Start with Confuse Ray and spam Growth until we are at +3. Now, Bulbasaur goes down with Tackle. Next is Charmander, but it's an easy one-shot. Lastly is Squirtle, but it goes down with just 2 attacks. After beating the professor, we get to choose a counter starter, but we can't use any of them. And it pains me so much as a Charizard fanboy not to try his Mega Evolution. Anyway, we go to Route 5 where we battle our fake rival Tierno, but he only has 1 Corphish, so with Confuse Ray and a couple of tackles we easily beat him. And once we've reached Route 6, we can grab 2 new teammates. The first one is an Inkada that we won't use, but it will give us Shedinja in the future. And the next one is Onedge, the Excalibur with Jolly Nature. Well, I guess you're gonna be a physical attacker. And after being forced to go on a date with Shauna, we can go to Route 8 where we grab our next encounter, a Drifloon that we named Hairhead. He has a quirky nature and the ability Aftermath that I might need to use at some point. We have to deal with Team Flare for the first time inside the Glittering Cave, and although I almost lost Root because I'm an idiot, they're still not a threat, and we easily beat them. Before going to the second gym, we evolved Nincada, and this means we got a Shedinja now, that we named Shady, and he has the Adamant nature, which is probably the best we could get. We can also access Route 10 now, where we can catch a Golett, that we named Guardian, and he has the awesome ability Iron Fist and Hardy nature. We have to go challenge the second gym, but this is really troublesome for us. He has an Amora with Takedown and the ability Refrigerate, and that means it has a 90 power ice move that will one-shot 4 of our 5 teammates. And to make things even worse, we also have to deal with the Tyrant with Bite and the ability Strongjaw, and since he outspeeds almost all of our Pokemon, we'll be wiped before even hitting him once. So I thought I was doomed, but after doing some research, I realized that this game has something called Super Training that allows you to easily train your EVs, so after maxing out Excalibur's attack, we have at least 1 chance of winning, but we are not out of the woods yet. We go challenge Grunt now, and we start with Excalibur, the only Pokemon that doesn't get one-shotted. Amora starts by paralyzing us with Thunder Wave, while we use Swords Dance. On the next turn, we take an Ice Beam and got paralyzed. Already a bad start. We got hit by 2 more Ice Beams, so we recover a bit with an Oran Berry, and luckily we didn't get paralyzed anymore, so we maxed out our attack with 1 last Swords Dance. Now we are ready to one-shot Amora with Shadow Sneak. Next is the Tyrant, and I'm confident that I can take 1 more hit as long as it's not a crit, but luckily we don't get paralyzed and one-shot it with Shadow Sneak. This battle definitely made me sweat. If this didn't work, we would get white hit for sure. After that, Hairhead evolved into Drifloon, and in Reflection Cave we catch a Sableye with Gentle Nature that we name Aether. we also evolve our Groot into Trevenant. And once we've reached Shallow City, we go to the Tower of Mastery, where we battle our real rival for the first time. Serena starts with Meowstic against Excalibur. She uses Light Screen while we go for Swords Dance. He uses Psybeam next, but it's basically just a decal to Excalibur, so we max out our attack with Swords Dance and then one-shot it with Shadow Sneak. But now we have to face Absol, and this guy is scary because a single crit will delete any guy from my team. This is why I got to +6 earlier. Luckily, he didn't crit, and we survived the bite, and finish him with a Aerial Ace. Lastly is Frogadier, but we take him out with a Shadow Sneak. I guess I'm the one worthy of the Mega Ring. We go straight to the gym now, where we challenge Corina for a real battle this time, but once more, she stands no chance. Mianfu can't hit us, so she swaps for my choke, but it goes down with just 2 gusts. That was the only Pokemon that could actually hit us, so we just take care of Mianfu next, and lastly, we deal with Alusha, and we get the 3rd badge in the easiest gym battle of my life. Since I don't actually know this game, Serena caught me by surprise with a rival battle on the way to the next gym. We get a Ether up front that uses Fake Out for the flinch. Now we swap for Excalibur and copy-paste the same strategy as the last time. Spam Swords Dance and one-shot Meowstic, pray to Arceus that Absol doesn't crit us before we one-shot it with the Aerial Ace, and lastly, one-shot Frogadier with Shadow Sneak. I wonder for how long Arceus will protect us against the crits. Anyway, it's time to go to the Cormoran City gym to challenge Ramos and his grass types. He starts with Jumpluff against Hairhead, and we take some damage from Acrobatics. And since I'm an idiot, I forgot to take out the item out of Hairhead, so Jumpluff managed to survive the Acrobatics. He healed with an Hyper Potion, but it doesn't really matter. We only have to take one more hit before taking him out. Next is Winpimbel, but we obliterate him with Acrobatics. Lastly is Gogoat, and I know we'll survive the hit, but he only has Grass Knot, and that's basically a love tap to Hairhead, so we just tank it and finish the battle with just 1 Acrobatics. Excalibur evolved from the battle, so we have a Doublade now and another easy gym in the back. Now we have to go to the power plant in Route 13, where we have to deal with Team Flare, but the only real issue here was to keep under the level cap. So much that while we were fighting the last grunt there, I either got to level 38, and this means we can't use him until we beat the next gym. I still have 2 admin battles to do, and as you can see, my whole team is on the brink of leveling up. The first one uses a Houndoom, and I open up with Shedinja so I can split the XP gains. I swap for Trevenant now while he uses Odor Sleuth. Apparently, after that he only uses Beat Up for some reason, so with the help of Confuse Ray and Leech Seed, the battle takes a while, but Groot takes care of it. The other admin uses a Mightyena, and we start with Shady again, but immediately swap for Excalibur that got hit with an Assurance crit. Mightyena goes for Swagger next, and we hit ourselves pretty hard, but I think we can survive another hit, so we risk it and snap out of confusion to hit a powerful Aerial Ace while he roars to send in Groot. We go for Confuse Ray, but he uses Swagger again. Then we Leech Seed while he uses Scary Face. And now we swap for Excalibur again, just to get roared into Hairhead, but we are faster, so with 1 Acrobatics we seal the deal. I don't know how no one else went over the level cap. But we are not done yet. We still have to deal with the regular gym battles, but luckily for us, the Lumiose City gym only has 3 mandatory trainer battles, and 2 of them can be cleared with Shedinja, that is my lowest level Pokemon. The only one Shady can't deal with is an Ampharos, because he has Power Gem. But we split the XP with Guardian that takes care of it with Magnitude. This was really hard, a couple more mandatory battles and I have no team to use. At least, we can finally go challenge Clement, and it starts with a Molga against our Guardian. We take a lot of damage with the Aerial Ace, but we do a bunch with Rock Tomb. We have to tank one more attack that got us pretty low, but with another Rock Tomb, we take it out. Next is Heliolisk, and since Clement just lost the only way he had to damage Shady, we just bring him out to spam Oneclaws, and once we are maxed out, we take care of Heliolisk with a couple of cuts. And lastly is Magneton, but with a Shadow Claw and him hitting himself once, we defeat the 5th gym leader. Well, I guess I should start banning Shedinja in future runs. Now, we got a call from the professor to go to Lysander Cafe, and I swear I was walking around the city for like an hour and didn't find it, until I realized I could get a cab to drop me there. Anyway, we go to Route 14, where we get to battle Serena again, and you've guessed it, we are gonna use the same strategy again. Bring in Excalibur, spam Swords Dance, one-shot Meowstic, pray to Arceus and one-shot Absol. As for Greninja, it doesn't have a dark move yet, so we send out Groot while he throws some weird looking marshmallows at us. And between Confuse Ray, Leech Seed and Power Up Punches, we take him out without any issues. While still on Route 14, we catch a hunter with docile nature that we named Lilith. And the timing couldn't be better, cause we immediately arrive at Lavere City where we get our hands on a Gengar ride. This means we have to evolve our Lilith into a spooky Gengar. And now we are ready to go to the gym and challenge the fairy type specialist Valerie. And she starts with Mawile against the Guardian. She uses Iron Defense and we tickle her with a measly magnitude 6. This is still my best option, so we go again, but Crunch does a bunch of damage. Luckily, this time we hit a magnitude 8 for the KO. She sends out Mr. Mime now, and this means it's Shady time to shine. We use Confuse Ray and a couple of Oneclaws, then we one-shot it with Shadow Claw. Our last Pokemon is Sylveon, and yes, Shady could easily take her out, but I couldn't resist trying out our girl Lilith and her Mega Evolution, and it looks absolutely incredible. About the battle, we had to use a couple of Venashocks cause the light screen was up, but it was an easy one. And just like that, we got the 6th badge. Apparently, Team Flare is causing some troubles at the ball factory, so we have to go deal with them. And before the last battle here, our Guardian evolved into Gorluk, and this thing is pretty good. Now, we have a double battle against the admins, and this could have been very bad, if only they had more than one Pokemon each. What kind of evil team is this? Our next encounter is on the Lost Hotel, and it's a Litwick that we named Wanda, and it has a hardy nature. Another neutral nature, but that's not bad at all. Now, it's time to go to Route 16, where you can catch the embodiment of Halloween, a Pumpkaboo that obviously we named Spooky. This one has a relaxed nature, and that means less speed. On the way to the next gym, we evolved Wanda into Lampert, and this is when I realized that I'll only be able to find one Duskstone in the game. But apparently, there's something called Secret Super Training, and if you beat the Aegislash with the top score, you have a chance of winning one, and it took me hours to unlock this feature and to win 2 Duskstones, but now we can get some massive upgrades on our team. Excalibur unlocks his final form, a Aegislash, and Wanda evolves once again, and just like that, our team went from good to insane. After arriving in Anistar City, we have to battle Serena again, but this time we do things a bit different. We start with our one-man army Mega Gengar that one-shots Meowstic with a Shadow Ball. And she sends out Greninja next, so we go for Dazzling Gleam, but my heart stopped when I realized he was faster. That shouldn't have happened. He probably has a nature that increases speed or something, but luckily Lilith survived the hit and was able to one-shot it. That could have gone sideways really quick. Next is Absol, but we also one-shot it. Lastly is Flareon, but we swap for Guardian that tanks the bite and hits the magnitude 7 for the victory. It's time to go to the 7th gym and challenge Olympia. And she starts with Sigalith against Guardian. He uses Reflect, but we still do a bunch of damage with Shadow Punch. He hits a Psychic that does a third of our health, but with another Shadow Punch, we take it out. She sends out Meowstic now, and this thing can be an issue because it knows Shadow Ball, so we swap for a Aether that takes a Shadow Ball crit for massive damage. We use Fake Out that does almost nothing, then we take another Shadow Ball that brings us to 11 HP. While we do very little damage with Shadow Claw, but at least Reflect ended now. We need to swap, so I send out Groot that has to take 2 massive Shadow Balls before hitting a Confuse Ray. This time I swap for Wanda, while Meowstic hits himself, but he snaps out right after and hits a powerful Shadow Ball, but 1x is enough to finish him. Lastly is Slowking, and we send out Guardian back out that easily tanks the Power Gem and one-shots it with Shadow Punch, giving us the win against Olympia. Now we have to go deal with Team Flare again. We do have to battle all the admins, and yes, they use mainly dark types, but they don't use more than 2 Pokemon, so the battles just get boring. So after they summon a flower looking thing that flip a bunch of houses like they were Lego pieces, we go challenge Lysander in his final form. He starts with Mienshao against Excalibur. We use King's Shield while he uses Acrobatics, so we lower his attack. We go for Swords Dance next, but so does he. I try to predict another attack, but he Swords Dance again, and I don't want him to get stacked, so I just finish him with Sacred Sword. He sends out Parrour now, so we use King's Shield to change to our defense stance. He goes for Fire Blast that did way more damage than what I thought. but we take him out with a Sacred Sword. I was not expecting that much. Now we have to deal with Honchkrow, and we start by using King's Shield to drop his attack. Then we use Iron Head to one-shot it. Lastly is the Mega Gyarados, and we went with King's Shield again, but he goes for Earthquake, so we weren't able to drop his attack. We swapped for Guardian to see if we could tank the Earthquake, but it was way too much damage. So I have only one option now, sacrifice someone, so I send out Aether that gets one-shotted by Aqua Tail. I still don't have a good answer for this guy, so I send out Lilith to do as much damage as possible with Thunderbolt, while praying to Arceus that he gets a low roll on Earthquake so I might survive. But to my surprise, he goes for Aqua Tail, and we manage to survive on just 19 HP, and we use one last Thunderbolt to take out Gyarados. That was so lucky. I was certain that Lilith would have been sacrificed right there. Now that we have one slot available, I have to put the Halloween Spirit on the team, so we evolve Spooky into Gourgeist and we are ready to continue. On our way to the next city, Shauna challenges to a battle again. She starts with Delcatty, but it goes down with just 2 Seed Bombs from Spooky. Next is Gura, so we send out Excalibur that easily tanks the Dragon Pulse. We use Zords Dance, but I realized that she does a lot of damage with Earthquake, but our attack is high enough now that we one-shot her with Iron Head. Lastly is Chestnut, and I know it will use Spiky Shield, so we use Swords Dance again. So with one Iron Head, we take it out and beat Shauna. The other 2 fake rivals show up to ambushes, and Tierno is the first one we have to deal with, but as soon as the battle started, I realized that they didn't heal us between battles, so on the next one, I might be in trouble. He opens up with Talonflame, so I immediately swap for Guardian that takes 2 powerful acrobatics before hitting a Shadow Punch crit for massive damage, but now I have to swap again. This time I send out Wanda that also has to take 2 powerful acrobatics before using a Shadow Ball to take him out. We have to deal with Groudon now, so I swap for Groot that easily tanks the Grab Hammer. We go for Unleash now, but he managed to survive on 1 HP and hits us with a Night Slash that does a bunch of damage, but with one last power-up punch, we take him out. Lastly is Roserade, but since it only knows Petal Dance, we risk staying in so that we could use Confuse Ray. Now we swap for Spooky that hits a Phantom Force, but it gets poisoned because of Poison Point. We can finish Roserade now with Shadow Sneak, but we are in trouble if we have to fight the next rival. Thankfully, Trevor heals us before the battle. I would actually be in trouble if he didn't. He starts with Raichu and we send out Guardian that one-shots it with Earthquake. Next is Floors, but Lily comes out that easily takes care of it with a couple of Banashocks. Lastly is Aerodactyl, but it goes down with a Thunderbolt. Well, apparently I was worried for nothing. We arrive in Snowbell City, where we have to battle the 8th and last gym. So after a few tweaks to our team, we challenge Wolfric that starts with Aboma Snow against Wanda. He brings the hail to the field because of snow warning, but it goes down to a flamethrower. Next is Avalok, but you guessed it, we take him out with a flamethrower. Lastly is Cryogonal that hits us with Confuse Ray, but we still manage to hit a flamethrower that one-shot it. Well, that was another anticlimactic last gym. We go to the Pokemon Village now, where we have our last encounter, a Bayonet that we call Zipper. I actually don't think I'll use this one, but we'll see. We head to the Victory Road now, where we have to battle Serena one last time, and I only have 5 teammates because I had to bring someone to use Surf. As per usual, she starts with Meowstic, and we had Wanda up front. We have to tank a Shadow Ball, but with our own Shadow Ball, we take him out. But now we have to face the Greninja, and we are forced to swap for Excalibur, but this frog is a monster, and with a single Dark Pulse, it takes half of our health. Luckily, after stalling with King's Shield, we recover some HP with leftovers, and we were able to survive another Dark Pulse with just 12 HP, and with a Sacred Sword, it goes down. Next is Flareon, so we use King's Shield to drop its attack. We send out Wanda back out predicting the fire move to activate our Flash Fire. Then I use Substitute to take the bite while we use Calm Mind, and after doing this twice, I can one-shot it with a Shadow Ball. Now she uses Absol, but thanks to the Flash Fire and the Calm Minds, a single Flamethrower is enough to deal with it. Our last Pokemon is Altaria, so we send out Lilith that uses a Dazzling Gleam to take her out and win us the last rival battle. This is it. We arrive at the Pokemon League. And since I don't know this game, I'm gonna assume there's no right order to do this, so I just went through the first door I saw, and it looks like the first one we'll face is the Fire-type specialist. So we challenge Malva, that opens up with Pyro against our Guardian. She uses Noble Roar to drop our attack, but we still one-shot her with Earthquake. The next one is Chandelure, that hits a Confuse rate, but we still manage to hit the Earthquake to take him out. Next is Talonflame, and I swap for Excalibur, that takes massive damage from Flare Blitz. But after using King's Shield to drop its attack, we can swap for Wanda, that absorbs the Flare Blitz thanks to the Flash Fire. And because of the attack drops, we can easily tank the Brave Bird now, and with 2 Shadow Balls, we take care of it. Lastly is Torkoal, but we just send Guardian back out, that dodges the Stone Edge and hits the Earthquake that takes out Torkoal and gives us the victory against the first Elite Four member. We go straight into the next room, and this time I guess it's against Steel types, so we go challenge Wikstrom, that starts with Klefki against our Wanda. He puts spikes on the field while we use Sunny Day, and now we use Flamethrower to one-shot it. Probopass comes out next, and he survives our attack because of Sturdy and does some decent damage with Power Gem, but we just have to wait until Wikstrom runs out of potions to take him out. Unfortunately, the Sunlight faded during that, but since he sends out Caesar next, doesn't really matter because he can't survive a Flamethrower. His last Pokemon is Aegislash, and since I'm sure he'll use King's Shield, I send out Excalibur, and we start by dropping his attack. I predict the King's Shield again and use Swords Dance, and on the next turn, you guessed it, we drop his attack again. We go for Swords Dance once more, but this time he used Shadow Claw, but we easily take that. And as I was going for the last Swords Dance expecting him to use King's Shield, we got hit by a Shadow Claw crit that takes out Excalibur. This was a very painful loss. We send Wanda back out trying to KO it, but he went back to use King's Shield. So I swap again for our more tanky Guardian, but we got hit with another Shadow Claw crit. 2 crits back to back. I guess Arceus stopped blessing us by now. This time I send out Lilith, that takes care of him with a Shadow Ball. Half of the Elite Four done, but with 2 powerful members dead on our team, things just got a lot harder for us. The next one is the Dragon Tamer Drasna, and she opens up with Dragalge against Wanda, so we set up the Sunny Day to be able to tank the Surf easily, and now with a couple of Psychics we take him out. The next one is Altaria, and it has no good moves against us, so we just go for a Shadow Ball, and luckily we get the defense drops while she misses Sing. So with another Shadow Ball we do enough to bring her down. Now we have to deal with Noivern, and my only choice here is to send out Lilith that loses almost all of our HP to Dragon Pulse. And again, I should be faster than this guy, but apparently not, and we take another Dragon Pulse that brought us to 23 HP, but luckily we hit a Dazzling Gleam crit for the one-shot. Lastly is Druddigan, and I was ready to lose Lilith, but apparently we also get back-to-back crits and we one-shot it as well. We are almost finished now. We only have to face one last member of the Elite Four, the Water-type specialist. So we go challenge Seabolt that starts with Clawitzer against Wanda, and I had this girl learn Solar Beam just for this fight. We start by using Sunny Day, and this way we can manage to survive the Water Pulse, and now we can use Solar Beam to delete this guy. But next is Gyarados, and my choice here is to send out Lilith predicting the Earthquake and one-shotting it with a Thunderbolt. He sends out Starmie now, but the little starfish can't survive a Shadow Ball. And lastly is Barbaracle, that leaves the Thunderbolt on red health and hits a powerful Stone Edge. But we just need to hit one more to take him out and win the battle against the last Elite Four member. It's time for the last battle of this run, but I only have 4 teammates left to deal with her, so I thought a lot about it and I made some move changes, but I think we are ready. We challenge the champion Diantha that starts with Alusha, so we send out Wanda to face him. He starts with Swords Dance, while we use Substitute. We gave leftovers to Wanda so we can recover a bit. Alusha goes for Swords Dance again, and we use Calm Mind. He hits a Poison Jab that breaks the sub while we continue with Calm Mind. We do have to tank a Poison Jab, but we take him out with just a Psychic now. Next is Tyrantrum, but we can one-shot it with a +2 Shadow Ball. And as you can imagine, we do the exact same thing to our Gorgeist. This time, she sends out Gudra, and I try to substitute again, but she breaks it right away with Muddy Water. So I decided just to go for Shadow Ball that does more than half, but we got hit by a Muddy Water that lowers our accuracy. Luckily, we still hit the Shadow Ball to take her out. The next Pokemon is Aurorus, and he actually can hurt us, so we take this chance to substitute and use some more Calm Minds. And once we are maxed out, We start attacking, but this took a while because we kept missing and she used a couple of full restores, but eventually the light screen runs out and we can one-shot it with a Psychic. And now it's time to face her ace, Mega Gardevoir. But there is no way she can survive a +6 Shadow Ball from Wanda, and just like that, we get the victory against Diantha and the title of the Kalos champion. Well, I definitely didn't expect the champion battle to be like this. I know it kind of looked easy and anticlimactic, but it was the best I could do with what I had. About the game, this was my first time playing it. I actually had a blast. I haven't had this much fun playing a Pokemon game in a while. Also, the Mega Evolutions are busted for sure. Anyway, I just wanna say that I love how much support and positivity you guys have been giving me. Thank you so much, I really appreciate you all. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, comment and share it with a friend. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!